Hello, lovely people here in the audience in front of me and the lovely people on Twitch. I'm assuming you're lovely anyway. Thank you for coming to today's final developer session. I am Bertie, a writer for Eurogamer, and it's my pleasure to introduce Dan and Adam de Rocha from Toxic Games to talk about Q.U.B.E 2. Please give them a round of applause.
Hi guys, so I'm Dan de Rocha, Managing Director at Toxic Games.
And I'm Adam de Rocha. I'm the Community Manager at Toxic Games.
Really excited to be here today to talk to you guys a little bit about the making of Q.U.B.E 2, but more importantly, to show some unseen footage of the game so far. So to begin, a quick show of hands. How many people here have played the first game or heard of it? Yeah, quite a few, quite a few. For those who haven't, Q.U.B.E is a first-person puzzle game where you wake up in this weird cubic environment with this powerful pair of gloves, not knowing what you have to do. You come across these different colored cubes that have different functionalities, and you need to use them in conjunction in order to solve different challenging puzzles and conundrums. And Q.U.B.E 1 began as a student project back in 2010. We received an investment from Indie Fund, and were able to live out our dream of creating the game full-time over the course of a year, releasing it on Steam in early 2012, paying back that investment, and then being able to create more games after that. So really cool. A few years later, we released the director's cut version of Q.U.B.E, which came out on consoles. The key differences with this game is that there was a deeper narrative, there was extra puzzles, and a time trial mode. More years on, we started tinkering with the Unreal Engine 4, which was in beta at the time. I said to our puzzle designer, Dave, why don't you throw in some cubes from Q.U.B.E 1 and just see how it looks like, rebuild that. He came back with some textures on the cubes, and we thought, OK, yeah, this looks much better than Q.U.B.E 1. Then he went away, and maybe 6 months later, he came back with about 5 hours of content, lots of different puzzles, and we thought, OK, actually, let's make Q.U.B.E 2 a full thing. Now, the things we could do with the sequel is that we could improve on mechanics of the first game, and do things that we not necessarily couldn't do with our technical expertise limitations, or lack of knowledge, or budget, or resource. And also, we could tap into our new audience. The great thing about this game is that we have a full production team. With the first game, there were 3 of us. None of us were coders or artists. All 3 of us were designers. So we made the entire game using visual scripting. Now, that came with its own challenges, but we managed to get through it. This time, we have the luxury of having a proper art team, proper audio team, a producer, and a coder. And the key difference between Q.U.B.E 2 and 1 is the narrative. So Q.U.B.E 1 was a purist puzzler. You wake up, you crack on with some puzzles. In this game, there's a deep storyline, new characters, and a new journey. So you play as a female protagonist, Amelia Cross. You wake up on this unknown alien planet, not knowing where you are, and you're contacted by another survivor called Emma. You enter this new cubic structure and have to kind of figure out what you're doing, why you're here. And she wants to rendezvous. So you come to all these new puzzles, new mechanics, and work your way through, trying to meet up with her, trying to find a way home. And to achieve that, we brought in some really talented voice actors. We worked with Tamarin Payne, who's the voice actor of Amelia Cross, Matthew Wade, and Alex Dunmore, who plays Emma. It's really fun working with these guys in the studio, lots of good times. And again, we had the luxury of having a concept artist on this game, which we didn't have in the first one. We experimented with many different ideas. We looked at having the game set in a cave with some ancient cubes. But we settled for this sort of environment, kept that sort of minimalistic effect and aesthetic as Q.U.B.E 1, set in a sort of skyscraper place. And we got this big structure in the middle, but we replaced that with a tree, giving that more organic feel to the game. And this lends itself to the new sort of gameplay in Q.U.B.E 2, because in Q.U.B.E 1, it was a very linear experience. You come to a puzzle, and players might get stuck, and then rage quit, and then come back to the game later on. So to mitigate that, we decided to have this hub environment. We tried to do it in Q.U.B.E 1, but we just didn't have the technical expertise to do that. So the theory is that a player will come to a puzzle. If they get stuck, then they can come out and go to a different room, tackle that one, and perhaps they'll learn something new from that puzzle and take it to the other one and get through the game. So let's talk about the art a bit. So we've got some character concepts here for Emilia Cross. Now, you don't actually see the character in the game because it's first person, but we wanted to go down this route and understand what she would look like so we can design the gloves and so forth. And especially when she falls from a high height, we can understand what the sounds might be because of the materials of those clothes. And here you can see the concept for the gloves themselves and the pipeline process we went through to get them from concept to final design. And you might notice the lights on the palms. They coincide with the cube that you're controlling at the moment, so it's very clear, and you don't need on-screen UI. And the star of the show, the cubes, of course, the cubes themselves. Now, we use this modular kit system where we've got different cubes, like Lego style, 10 by 3, 6 by 4, that sort of thing. These panels where we can quickly build the environment for the game. Now, in Q.U.B.E, we didn't have that, at least at the start. Every level was built with individual cubes, which was pretty insane. The FPS would drop all the time, and it wasn't that optimized. So we were told that you guys need to create these panels and go in and individually replace each cube. We thought, oh no, this is going to be insane. So we put some thrash metal on, down some Red Bull, and cracked on. It became more of a competition who can build their level the quickest. Here's some other art assets in the game. We've got movable walls now, the green cube panels, where you need to smash the green cube into, and the magnets make a return. And here on the left, you have the structure where you collect the cube energy from. On the right, you have this teleporter. On the bottom left, we've got this flamethrower, so you're actually playing with fire, gas, and water in this game now, and a button on the right. Here's a comparison with the pre-alpha art and then the final art on the right. So hats off to the art team. I think they're in the audience here somewhere. And this is the final render of the game, that beautiful tree environment. Slightly different to the concept art, but we've got a pond in there, and you can kind of appreciate that. And here is an environment that you find later on in the game. Many more real-world assets in there. We've got foliage, more texturing. It kind of gets away from the minimalist environment and the aesthetic of the first game, but it still has that cube feel and that vibe to it. And here's some comparisons with Q.U.B.E and Q.U.B.E 2. You can see Q.U.B.E 2 is much more detailed. The rendering is much better. We do have that minimalist environment in there in some of the levels, but we've got many other environment styles in there too. And here's a comparison with the old rotational segment and the new one, much more detailed. And this is the key art, the main poster for the game. Again, the Q.U.B.E 2 logo was done by the guy who did the original one, Henry Hoffman. And there's Emilia Cross staring into the cube structure into the distance. But that's really it from me. I'm going to pass over to Adam now, who's going to show you through the unseen footage and kind of guide you through that. Hope you enjoy it.
Okay, we go straight into this footage now. So we basically begin with the activation of the green cube. So throughout Q.U.B.E 2, you acquire each color, in this case the green ability, and then you collect it into your inventory, and then later in the game you're able to scroll through, select which color you want, and you're able to place them into the game.
Detach function. Code colored green enabled. Recommended action. Place green cube on white panel.
Incredible.
So yeah, you basically gain a new color and a new ability, and then you're introduced to the specific function of the color. So you can see in this room, there are particular white panels which you're able to place cubes onto. Go. So in Q.U.B.E 2, as opposed to the prequel, the player has all the power. So it's like you decide which colors you would like to place into the environment. So when you walk into a room, it's essentially a blank canvas. There's very little guidance. You have to decide which colors to use and figure out which combinations work in order to solve the puzzles. So we really like this idea of giving more control to the player, and I think it provides a greater feeling of satisfaction when you complete a puzzle. You'll see at this stage of the game, you're only able to place one type of cube. So as you see there, the new cube basically replaces the old existing green cube.
Does that mean I'm nearly at the top?
Not quite. These structures, all paths should lead to a central core. If you get there, we can figure out the best way to get you to the peak.
How do you know all of this?
We trained for a long time, Lily.
So what do you think these structures are?
Well, we know they have internal machinations and seem to perform tasks with no need for external input. A cybernetic system of sorts, reacting and adapting. The gloves were built to change that, or at least divert its functions temporarily.
But what's their purpose?
All I know is that we have to stop that vessel from colliding with Earth. The structure you're in, God knows what they're used for. Anyway, let's focus on finding that beacon as soon as possible.
So you're constantly receiving transmission from this other survivor called Emma. She knows a lot of information, which she keeps updating you with. But you basically need to figure out if you can trust her. Is she a friend? Is she a foe? So you have these blue barriers here. They actually stop the cubes from passing, so you need to figure out a way of getting the cubes over and beyond. So we've really explored the environments in Q.U.B.E. The original Cube had this very minimalist environment. It's pretty much just like white paneled rooms. But now we have a range of environments throughout the game. This particular one you're seeing right now, this is the industrial area, quite metallic. But we also have like a decayed area. For example, that's like very natural, overgrown. So we actually have a button now that resets that cube to white. The environments are thanks to our art team, Harry and Connor. They've done a really great job of like polishing the whole game, and as a result, as you can see, created this stunning looking game. These are just some of the technologies mentioned by Dan, implemented in the game.
Please, take me.
Take me?
My heart beats.
But I wanted to beat.
For you.
I want to become.
Become one.
She said we would become.
Become one. Don't leave me on my own.
Not without
Her?
Emma,
What? What is it?
I think it's human, or was. Now I don't know what it is. A statue. And it was saying something. No, not saying. A radio transmission of sorts. I don't know, this is messed up.
Millie, whatever it was, it just means we need to find the location of that signal as soon as possible. Okay? Then we can find a place to rendezvous.
Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's just keep going, okay?
So there you can see like deeper elements of the narrative, but that was basically the gameplay footage. So thank you very much for watching. Q.U.B.E will be released early next year on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. A demo of it is actually available to play out on the show floor. It's in the rezzed area.
Yeah, but thanks for EGX for having us. I think we're going to do some questions now, if you guys want to come up. Don't be shy.
Anyone know?
Any questions? Anyone with any questions? Come on. No, all right then. Well, all that's left then is to thank, I believe we have a trailer to play out in a second, but before then I'd like to say thank you to Adam and Dan DeRocha for, that looked good, didn't it? So thank you very much for showing it. Thank you guys for coming. Don't forget we have a full day of sessions tomorrow, so tune in for that or stick around if you're still here. But please, a big round of applause for Dan and Adam. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Mayday. This is Commander Emma Sutcliffe of the Vitruvius mission. I am stranded in an unknown location following mission success. Are there any survivors out there? I repeat, this is Commander Emma Sutcliffe. I am stranded in an unknown location following mission success. Out there, mission. Commander of the
I've been here before.
The escape pods must have brought us both back to the origin planet. You may not remember, but if you listen to me and do as I say, we may actually make it back home. It's time to find out what we've done.
Thank you.
Thank you.